This week we watched in shock as hundreds of cars were stranded on a section of I-95 near Washington, D.C. because of a rare snowstorm and major pileup. People spent the night in their cars in freezing conditions, some were stuck for over 24 hours. Our more modern transportation technologies might have improved this situation, but some ponder if a switch to electric cars would have made it worse as the cars ran out of power. To those who grew up in snowy places, the calamity that occurs with moderate snow in places that aren't used to it is somewhat amusing. In Buffalo, a foot of snow would cause some disruption but be shrugged off. In Texas and Virginia, a few inches could be national news. These regions need to spend more on their infrastructure to handle snow and increasingly frequent weather extremes, but aren't willing to pay the cost. A report in the Washington Post speculated that it could have been a disaster if it had been a highway of electric cars. It's true that EVs lose battery performance in very cold weather, up to about 20%. Most now heat their batteries to deal with this, but if somebody got into a jam like this with a very low battery, they could face trouble. Some gasoline drivers also ran out of gas idling their engines, though it was easier to deal with them if small vehicles could bring a gas can. There are mobile EV chargers out there, but there aren't too many because in reality, running out of charge in an EV is much more rare than running out of gas, because people are more aware and their car computers nag them to avoid it. Roadside service providers found that less than 5% of calls to service an EV on the road involved running out of juice. On the plus side, an EV can keep you warm quite well. Most EVs have electric seat heaters, which will keep one side of you toasty and keep you alive, even if the other side gets cold. They only draw about 60 watts per seat, but a 20% degraded EV battery can provide that from full for almost a month. That's not true in a Tesla TSLA, which won't turn on the seat heater without running the computer, and the computer draws 240 watts and would only last a week. A gasoline car, on the other hand, uses around 0.16 gallons/hour to idle, and thus cannot idle for nearly that long, though that keeps the whole car warm. Idling an engine to keep you warm is vastly less efficient than doing it directly with wires in your seat. Of course, drivers would prefer to heat the whole interior, but a full battery should be able to do that for around 3 days.